Hey guys, Tarke here, and this is the video that I seem to make every league, but it is the most important video, and it's what to do when you hit a wall in Path of Exile. Should I re-roll? Should I spend 5 days scouring PoE Ninja? Should I be looking at every single streamer? What do I do? I've lost my direction. What next? This is especially true in SSF, because in Trade League it's much easier to brute force this problem by just being like, well, I'll sell everything and just buy a random chase unique and make a build around it. The answer is to just play the game. It seems kind of like a reductive answer, but you will break through a lot of your barriers by just playing while you think. So I took a break from Path of Exile for a few days because I was having some RSI issues in my hands. It's feeling much better now, having not played for a bit and doing my little like stretches and all this stuff with my index finger, which has been really good. And I came back and I'm like, okay, do I want to keep playing my current build or do I want to play a lower impact build for a while, you know, while my hand is still sort of getting back to normal? And I spent a few days just kind of like log in, play for 10 minutes, look through my stash, organize stuff into little things. You can see I'm, put together a little ignite bit of gear. I started leveling a character a tiny bit. Got to like Act 4 or something on an Elementalist. I was like, do I want to play this? Do I not want to play this? And I ummed and ahed. And then what I did, and it's something that I recommend everyone just does, is I was like, okay, well, let's just run all my zero fragments. And I had something like 30 or 40 at zero sets. I ran all of them. From that, I then got a bunch of Uber fragment sets. I ran some Uber fragment sets. I ended up getting a disfavor, which unfortunately these days isn't that big of a deal, but it does mean that if I then wanted to play a melee build at some point in this league, I've got a perfectly good starter weapon that I can use. It does feel silly to say starter weapon, but I've got a perfectly good starter weapon I can use until I then raft like a rare Ruby Chopper or something. I then got a bunch of the new rings that come from Itziri, which give you these cool effects if you've used Val skills recently. And because I knew that I wanted to play a bow build at some point in this league, I took all my watchstones out of New Vastir, which means that I got a lot of deserts and dunes maps. I actually ran a couple, but I think I've still got, I've got 29 dunes and 11 deserts left over. The reason why this is important is desert and dunes give the Imperial Legacy card, which is the div card for a 6-link level 100 Imperial bow, which is very important. Also, this is something that Rise was doing on his stream, is you can spec dunes for emblematic and war supplies, which each legion area contains additional warhorde, and timeless hunters dropped in areas have a chance to drop as timeless emblems instead, which is amazing both in SSF and in Trade League, because you can then be like, right, what I'm gonna do is I'm next going to fill in my Maven for this area because I haven't been Mavening at all. Unlock this stuff, and then I'll blast all of those dunes and deserts I got, throwing Legion in there, and then all of a sudden, not only am I farming my Imperial Legacies, but then I'm farming Legion unique drops, which is very important in SF. I'm also farming the Timeless Jewels, which is really important for lots of builds. And this is stuff that even if I stop playing my current character, all of this progress I'm making is progressing me throughout the league. And sometimes, you'll find what happens is you've reached a barrier just because you've sort of lost a goal, and you're actually still really enjoying your current build. Like, I'm still enjoying playing on my current build, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I've done some Uber at series, done a whole bunch of normal at series. I've been also doing all my rogues. This is very important to do in SF. I've been heisting regularly throughout the entire league. I'm actually looking forward to, at some point, just burning through probably 600 chaos, just doing 100 heist forces to get some more blueprints. I've been running all my blueprints. I've been putting blueprints to the side. The only ones I haven't really been running is the Thieves' Trinkets and the Enchanted Armaments one, mostly because I'm just saving rogue markers so that whenever I do get a replica, I can run it straight away. So for getting a replica uniques, getting unusual gems, I've gotten a few quite interesting unusual gems. I've gotten a whole bunch of replica uniques. The replica Conqueror's efficiency is a massive one. I'm kind of tempted to do Toxic Rain because most people who've played Toxic Rain have realized Toxic Rain is still fine, or in some cases better. But a lot of people are still like, Toxic Rain, and none of the big streamers have really done it yet. So I'm kind of tempted to do a Toxic Rain build. I also wanted to do a Corrupting Fever Gladiator build, but Mathil just played that annoyingly. I think the way I would do it was kind of different, so maybe I'll still play that, but I'll swing back around to it. Another thing which came from all my Zeri farming is I got a bunch of sack garbs, which can be used with the altar in temple to turn into shadow stitches. Shadow stitches are a very easy +4 chest for trap builds. I also got an Zeri Splendor, which is actually like a really solid starter chest now for any Vol skill build. I ended up getting a pair of double fizz dot multis from one of the rogues I ran recently. So with both of these combined with my cold iron point and my 6-link Russer Sword, I could actually make a really good exannuate trickster character. And this might not seem like anything new or novel, and it's something that I make this video, or the equivalent of this video, literally every league. But Path of Exile is a game where it's very easy to get lost, and the amount of progress, account-wide league-based progress you'll make just leveling random characters through to Act 10, and then being like, no, I don't want to play that, I'm playing something else, compared to just like an hour of, I'm going to run my Zeri fragments, or I'm going to catch up on my heist, or I'm going to push my delve a little bit. Like, there are so many little side activities that even if you are bored of playing the league, you are bored of mapping, you can just spend an hour, maybe 2 hours doing the side content, still have fun, and still progress yourself forward. And through that side content, you might then drop a unique, which is then like, I want to build with this new unique, which is like kind of what happened with this Replicas Conqueror's Efficiency. It was a case of like, okay, I'm done mapping, I'm just going to heist a ret, and now suddenly I've got this really powerful item, which, you know, is usually really difficult to get in SSF, and it's a really big deal because this plus 3 rings, especially with, 2 rings and an amulet, means that, you know, you get very easy minus like 40 odd mana cost of skills, and suddenly it's like, whoa, you've opened up all of these really interesting attack builds. You know, the Zeri's Disable, we meme on it because it's not as good as it used to be, but this is like a massive deal. Like, this is a really solid starting weapon that I could just shove on any character, and you'd be like, okay, we'll use the Hesminas, but like, you know, it's still, you know, it's still got that little bit of deep, still got that little bit of plus weapon range in there. So yeah, I know it's not the most crazy idea. Another thing which is definitely worth running, if you've got a whole bunch of offerings saved up, this is probably what I'm going to do next once I finish these rogue markers, is just run a bunch of lab. And since we can now see the enchants, being able to see the enchants in SSF is an amazing way to inspire future builds, earn a bunch of currency, and get forward progression. The other really good thing about running lab is really good for feeding its Zeri fragments. So if you have anything on your atlas that you can make a div card strategy around, like, it doesn't have to be New Vastir, there could be any like tier 4, tier 5 map which feeds you div cards that you need. You can make a really good SSF endless loop where you run all your fragments. Sorry, you run all your offerings, which feed you a bunch of helm enchants, a bunch of currency, a bunch of random maps. Feed you a bunch of fragments. You run all your fragments to then funnel into your tier 4, tier 5 maps that you need. Then you run all your tier 4 to tier 5 maps. You'll naturally get a whole bunch more offerings, either from running the trials or just because every league mechanic just gives offerings. And you'll naturally encounter more Valsider areas, and you'll naturally encounter more legions, and then, you know, the game cycles in on itself really well. And I just want to stress that if you are feeling lost, as a lot of people have been saying they've been feeling lost this league, particularly because of all the league issues at the start, they struggled to get into it with the text streaming and all of that sort of stuff. If you are kind of feeling a bit aimless, just play the game. It feels reductive to say it, but playing the game is the most important thing in Path of Exile, because Path of Exile is a game which is very easy to progress in. But yes, I'm Tarke. Have a good day. Apologies for having greasy hair, by the way. I just woke up and forced myself to record straight away. Bye-bye.